Social Science, Social and Political Life 1. Chapter 2, Diversity and Discrimination. In the previous chapter, you have discussed the meanings of diversity. Sometimes people who are different from others are teased, laughed at, or not included in a certain activity or group. We feel hurt, angry, helpless, or sad when friends or others treat us in such ways. Have you ever wondered why this happens? In this chapter, we will try and explore how such experiences are related to the society we live in. We will look at how they are connected to the inequalities that exist around us. Difference and prejudice. There are many things that make us what we are. How we live, the languages we speak, what we eat, where, the games we play, and the things we celebrate. All of these are influenced both by the geography and history of the place where we live. You will get an idea of how diverse India is if you look even briefly at the following statement. There are 8 major religions in the world. Every single one of them is practiced in India. We have more than 1,600 languages that are people's mother tongues. And there are more than 100 dance forms. Yet, this diversity is not always celebrated. This is because we feel safe and secure with the people who look, talk, dress, and think like us. Sometimes when we meet people who are very different from us, we may find them strange and unfamiliar. At times we may not understand or know the reasons why they are different from us. People also form certain attitudes and opinions about others who are not like them. Below are some statements on people living in rural and urban areas. Tick mark those that you agree with. Here are the statements on rural people. Rural people are the people who live in villages, in the hinterlands, far away from the cities. More than 50% of all Indians live in villages. Villagers do not care about their health. They are full of superstition. People in villages are backward and do not like to use modern agricultural technology. In peak harvesting and plantation season, families spend 12 to 14 hours working in the fields. FIELDS. Villagers are forced to migrate to cities in search of work. Here are a few statements on urban people. Urban people are people who live in the cities. Life in the city is easy. People here are spoiled and lazy. In cities, families spend very little time with each other. People in cities only care about money, not about people. Living in a city is expensive. A large part of people's earnings is spent on rent and transport. City people cannot be trusted. They are cunning and corrupt. Some of the statements above see villagers as dirty, ignorant, and superstitious, and see people in cities as money-minded, lazy, and cunning. When our opinions about certain people are always negative, seeing them as lazy, cunning, stingy, as some of the statements above, then these become prejudices that we carry about them. Prejudice means to judge other people negatively or see them as inferior. Inferior is less better than us. When we think that only one particular way is the best and right way to do things, we often end up not respecting others who may prefer to do things differently. For example, if we think English is the best language and other languages are not important, we are judging these other languages negatively. As a result, we might not respect people who speak languages other than English. We can be prejudiced about many things: people's religious beliefs, the color of their skin, the region they come from, the accent they speak in, the clothes they wear, etc. Often, our prejudices about others are so strong that we don't want to form friendships with them. At times, we may even act in ways that hurt them. Look again at the statements that you believe to be true about rural and urban life in India. Do you have a prejudice against rural or urban people? Find out if this is shared by others and discuss the reasons why people have these prejudices. Prejudice means to judge other people negatively or see them as inferior, lesser than us. Can you list some of the prejudices that you have noticed around you? How do they affect the ways in which people treat each other? Creating stereotypes. All of us are familiar with gender differences. What does it mean to be a boy or a girl? Many of you would say, we are born as boys and girls. What is there to think about? Let's see if this is the case. Arrange the statements given below in these two sections according to what you think is appropriate for the section. Section Girls and Section Boys. They are well behaved, they are soft spoken and gentle, they are physically strong, they are naughty, they are good at dance and painting, they don't cry, they are rowdy, they are good at sport, they are good at cooking, they are emotional. Now check with your teacher's help who has put which statement where. Find out and discuss people's reasons for doing this. Are the qualities you put in for boys something that boys are born with? If we take the statement, they don't cry, you'll see that this is a quality that is generally associated with boys and men. As babies or children, when boys fall and hurt themselves, their parents and other family members often console them by saying, "Don't cry, you are a boy. Boys are brave, they don't cry." As children grow up, they start believing that boys do not cry, so that even if a boy feels like crying, he stops himself from doing so. He also believes that crying is a sign of weakness. So even though both boys and girls sometimes want to cry, especially if they are angry or in pain, as they grow older, boys learn or teach themselves not to cry. If a grown boy cries, then he feels that others will either tease him or laugh at him, and so he stops himself from doing so in front of others. This is the way boys are, and this is how girls are. These are statements we hear constantly and accept without even thinking, and we start believing that each one of us must behave accordingly. We fit all boys and all girls into an image that society creates around us. You can take other statements such as they are soft and gentle or they are well behaved and discuss how these are applied to girls. Do girls possess these qualities at birth or do they learn such behavior from others? What do you think about girls who are not soft and not gentle and those who are naughty? When we fix people into one image, we create a stereotype. Stereotype. When people say that those who belong to a particular country, religion, sex, race, or economic background are stingy, lazy, criminal, or dumb, they are using stereotypes. There are stingy and generous people everywhere. In every country, in every religion, in every group, whether rich or poor, male or female. And just because some people are like that, it is not fair to think that everyone will be the same. Never generalize, my uncle Noel would tell me. Just because one person does something doesn't mean all people who belong to that person's community or country do the same thing. Stereotypes stop us from looking at each person as a unique individual with his or her own special qualities and skills that are different from others. They fit large numbers of people into only one pattern or type. Stereotypes affect all of us as they prevent us from doing certain things that we might otherwise be good at. Let us now look at the illustrations. The first illustration shows a child holding two crutches. People say all sorts of things. I limp, I lisp, all this and more. Sometimes I feel so sad and sore. Folks make fun, it's nothing new. If you were I, what would you do? The second illustration has a little girl sitting on a wheelchair. You look so different. I am a person, I feel shy. From staring eyes, I want to hide. The third illustration shows a little girl on a wheelchair working on a painting. Is her mind okay? Just because my legs are wobbly, people think my mind is wobbly too. The source of these illustrations and matter is Why Are You Afraid to Hold My Hand by Sheila Dheer. Why Are You Afraid to Hold My Hand by Sheila Dheer. The children you see in the illustrations here were seen as disabled, DISABLED. This term has been changed and now the term used is children with special needs. C. Children. W. With. S. Special. N. Needs. CWSN. Children with special needs. CWSN. Common stereotypes about them are given in large letters. People say all sorts of things. You look so different. Is her mind okay? Their own feelings and thoughts too are given. I limp, I lisp, all this and more. Sometimes I feel so sad and so. Folks make fun, it's nothing new. If you were I, what would you do? I am a person, I feel shy. From staring eyes, I want to hide. Just because my legs are wobbly, people think my mind is wobbly too. Discuss what these children are saying about stereotypes regarding them and why. Do you think children with special needs, CWSN, should be a part of regular schools or study in a separate school? Give reasons for your answer. Thank you, God, for my teachers and my friends.